Hi, and welcome to Community Hotline at Home. I'm Monica Weitzel. The Gresham Chamber of Commerce is well known in the East County community for their work supporting businesses. One of their increasingly popular programs is their year-long Leadership Academy, where local citizens learn about their city and develop their leadership skills. Today, we'll find out what this year's cohort is doing to help kids at the Center for Advanced Learning and how you can support this cause. With us today, we have two graduates of the Gresham Chamber of Commerce Leadership Academy. We have with us Stuart Rice, who is a business therapist with Level Up, and Annette Freitag, who is the marketing director for Gresham Ford. Gresham Ford also happens to be our sponsor for the show. So thank you, both of you, for coming on the show today.
Thank
you for the invite.
Yeah. You're very welcome. So as a member of the Gresham Leadership Academy, that was a year-long process. And can you tell me just a little bit about that before we dive into the project that you all did as a team? Why don't you tell me a little bit about that course that you took?
Sure, I can start. One of the things that was really great about the Leadership Academy is it took us through all sorts of different aspects of the community. And so we got connections with law enforcement, with MetroEast, so media, government. It was fantastic because it really covered everything you would need to be a leader in the community. And it was such an enlightening experience. Now, Annette, I'm sure you agree with me. You probably learned, I learned so much about local government I had no idea about.
Yeah, it definitely connected a lot of the dots. I grew up in this area, and it was interesting for me kind of learning the backstory of some of these things and how they came to be, and learning the members of our community that actually made those things happen. That was really impactful for me, and I would highly recommend the Leadership Academy. I was a little overwhelmed when they said, hey, it's an hour, one day a month, and it goes on for an entire year, and you have this project, and and all these things. And I was a little intimidated to begin with, but everything that we got out of it, I think, made it more than worth it.
Good. That's good to hear. And the people that I've talked to that have been through that have really seemed to benefit from it. So even if you have lived here all your life, you're learning stuff about the community you didn't know before. Stuart, did you have any aha moments where you went, oh, wow, I didn't know that, or about yourself?
Oh my goodness, this is going to be so embarrassing to admit. Local government has never been a highlight for me. It's never been anything that I've really paid a lot of attention to. And so going to see how a city council meeting was run and what the importance of city council was just so eye-opening, and how hard people work. We don't realize that. Also, the other thing was during the law enforcement day, I realized I have probably been a jerk when someone's pulled me over.
Well, there you go. Now, does that mean you're not going to be anymore?
No, I've reformed. So every time I get pulled over now, I'm very nice to them.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. I hope it doesn't happen often. So tell me a little bit about this project. Every Leadership Academy group cohort has to choose a project, right?
We do. And a lot of times it's something that's going to have an impact on the community. It's something that's going to be long lasting. So we had looked at a ton of different options. We had started to look at something in the parks. We really wanted to add some sort of element to the parks because we felt like that's a good community gathering point. And Annette can probably tell you, we ran into some issues with that.
That was an aha moment that we had with the city, where we were learning about, we were thinking it's a play structure, and no, there's a lot that goes into that play structure. And that was a little overwhelming. And this was also pre-COVID, and we really wanted a project that we could get done in the year of our academy. And so we wanted something that we were going to be able to work through. And that was really impactful. And, it speaks to Lynn and kind of her serendipity that she seems to have about things, but she had taken us to the Center for Advanced Learning and taken us on a tour. And I had been on a tour when they built it, and I'd gotten to meet some of the teachers there, and I was kind of aware about what they did there. But this was, we went on a tour with Adam Reed, who's one of the instructors there, and it was such an in-depth tour that he explained to us so many things about how Cal functions and why they function the way they do. And it's kind of what I would attribute like purpose-built education, that they're really talking to the kids about, what's your goal? And then they're purposefully putting them in situations and experiences that are going to allow them to attain those goals faster and easier. And that really spoke to all of us, because, we were all kind of joking if we had that kind of support when we were younger, or, possibly today, that we would be able to achieve so many things. And so that was really impactful for us. And a few of us had actually even participated in a program. One of the programs that Cal has is that they do, and I know Stuart's going to fill in because I always forget one, but they do like nursing and health, those kinds of things. They also do manufacturing, they do marketing, so digital marketing, graphic design, those kinds of things. And then they also have what they call the Change Lab. And that's kind of where kids who have that entrepreneurial spirit and really want to understand that process from beginning to end go. And that's exactly what Adam takes them through, is that process from beginning to end, how you set up a business, how you scale, how you figure out how to put your price, how to figure that out, all of those things. And at the end of the year, he does kind of his own version of Shark Tank. And he invites in some of the local business people, and we get to be the sharks, and they give us their pitch. And then they kind of work up to taking their businesses to market. And a number of these kids have taken their businesses to market and have been successful. So our original idea was that we were like, well, maybe we can give them a pot of money that, they can use to launch some of these businesses and kind of give them a kickstart. And when we met Adam for coffee and said, hey, this is what we want to do, he was like, okay, but I have something else on my wish list. And that was the Fast Company Innovation Festival, which I was familiar with Fast Company magazine, hadn't really heard too much about the Innovation Festival. So of course we listened to everything Adam said, and then we had to go home and Google it. So we did our research. And that just is a fantastic experience for these kids. And at this point, I think we were still pre-COVID, because part of it was sending them to New York for a week. And so some of his students haven't even ever left the state. And so he was really looking forward to an opportunity of taking these kids to New York for a week and exposing them to New York, and then also exposing them to all of these, adult entrepreneurs who are creating again and again and again and starting all of these businesses. So at that point, we were all in. We were ready to go, and then COVID.
Yeah, it kind of changed everything, didn't it?
Yeah. So, Stuart, did you want to speak to how we pivoted?
I want to interrupt for a minute just to make sure that people understand that this is a high school, correct?
Yes.
So these are high school kids we're talking about. They're not college.
It's a charter. Yeah, it's a charter school.
So most of the
it's
kids,
very specialized.
Most of the kids attend another school, like, Gresham Barlow or Gresham or Barlow or, Centennial, something like that. But
Yeah.
then part of the week they are there for the specialized training. I don't know if it's part of the week or part of the day, but yeah, they have some really good innovative programs there. So tell me, Stuart, then Adam wanted this, what was it again? The Fast Tech?
It was Fast Company Innovation Festival. And the
Okay.
idea was we were going to be sending them to New York so that they could get exposure to a slightly bigger city than what they were used to. The other thing was the other idea was to have the world get some exposure to Gresham. So we were going to invite donors to get a little bit of exposure during this festival. Obviously, when COVID hit, we had to switch gears and everything became virtual, including this festival. And this festival is really unique because it's got really big names that show up for it. They've had Kanye West in the past. They've had, I always mess up his name.
Lin Miranda. No.
Lin Miranda, thank you. And this year they've got some really impressive names as well. Lena Waithe, Robert Downey Jr., who's Iron Man. I don't think that's what he's talking about this time. But Michelle Pfeiffer, the guy who started Masterclass, David Rogier, like there's some really good names and a good opportunity to get some networking, even if it's virtual at this point, but be in some of those virtual rooms with some really incredible people that they can get some really great exposure in learning things. It's pretty spectacular, actually.
So now that they're not going to New York, does that mean that all of the kids get to attend this, as opposed to maybe not all of them if it was having to go back to New York?
Yeah, Adam, to Adam's credit, he has worked with Fast Company in order to find some really cost-efficient ways to make it possible for all of his kids to get exposure and participate in the festival. Because we at this point have raised, we know it's at least $1,800. We're still taking on donations, but that's going to be enough for him to expose all of his students to the Innovation Festival. And then also it is leaving over a little bit more money that he is going ahead and exposing his kids to the Future Festival by Trend Hunter, which is a similar event. It's a little bit more local based to the West Coast. And probably a little bit smaller companies that are launching, not such big ones. It's more of on a little bit smaller scale. And that is going to be December 3rd through 6th. So the Innovation Festival's in the beginning of October. So that's going to be really nice. That's going to be about the time they're all coming back to school. And so they kind of have something to look forward to, which I want something to look forward to. So I think that'll be helpful. Yeah. And then having another one in early December, I think that will help them hopefully keep motivated throughout the year as we all kind of adjust to this virtual environment that we have day in and day out.
So what do they do when they attend this? So they're probably listening to presentations and that kind of thing, but do they get to talk about anything that they've done, the work that they've done?
Yeah, they actually have two parts of it. They have the keynote speakers, which is where you would hear Robert Downey Jr. talk about his foundation and moving forward. And then you also have these breakout sessions that they get to kind of choose from a list of different things that they're possibly addressing. And those are smaller groups that they're trying to keep them, 10, 12 people. If they need to have multiple ones, they'll have multiple ones. And that's really giving the kids an opportunity to interact on a one-on-one basis and ask questions specifically and speak to those kinds of things.
I bet they meet some really interesting other kids there too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's got to really attract some of the brightest and the best in our country. What do you need, if anything, from the community to help make this happen?
Cold hard cash.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Stuart, go elaborate on that a little bit. You're
So
accepting donations still.
we're still accepting donations, and this year it's virtual, and next year it could be something completely different. So that's the idea here, is get these kids to get in front of these inspirational people this year virtually, and hopefully put enough in so that possibly next year, when travel becomes a little bit easier, perhaps they can
Yes.
get that going for next year.
That'd be great, because these kids really are going to be the future. I mean, that's kind of a cliche, but really they are,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you hope for them? What do you hope that what do you hope for their future? Because their future has changed right in front of our eyes. What do you hope for them?
It's they're going to an innovation festival. Who Moved My Cheese is a classic book, and the cheese has moved, and we need to have kids with the mental plasticity to be able to move with it. And I think that it's events like this that will get them to start thinking outside of the box, especially outside of even just the local box, and more on a global scale.
Right, right. And any last words or that you want to say about Center for Advanced Learning in Gresham, or about the Chamber Leadership Academy before I let you go?
Yeah, sure. All of the donations to our project are being sent to the Gresham Area Chamber of Commerce, why is the word escaping me? Foundation. Thank you. The foundation, which is a 501c3. So all of the donations to the project are tax deductible, and then the Chamber Foundation is then paying for those entry fees for the Center for Advanced Learning. So any donations that anybody wants to send are completely tax deductible. And we're excited to be graduates of the Leadership Academy from the Gresham Chamber, and to have a successful project under our belt, and that the kids are going to be, getting their mind blown here soon. So it'll be good.
Good. One last thing. Do you know if there's an opportunity for the public to see what those kids have been working on?
Well, we are actually. The kids are putting together kind of ideas right now. They're brainstorming in the brainstorming session. Our corporate sponsors that have donated to this event, like Clackamas County Bank and Rivermark Credit Union and Riverview Community Bank, all of these different groups are receiving social media shout outs and little, short videos from the students saying, thank you for giving me this opportunity. So they're in the process of producing all of those now and putting those together. So if you stay tuned to any of the chamber channels, social media channels, you will see those coming through.
So, something to look forward to again.
Yeah.
Got to have that. Thank you, Stuart Rice and Annette Freitag, very much for being on the show today, and for the good work that the Leadership Academy is doing. Obviously, you made them proud today, so thanks so very much. And thanks to our viewers for watching today. I really appreciate you joining us, and if you want to donate, we'll have the information on the screen for you. And from all of us at MetroEast, be safe, be healthy.